Students, welcome to the Sri Shankaracharya Vidyalaya online teaching video. This is a subject of social science from class 8. Hope this video will be finding you in your best of your health. Today we are going to do the last part of our chapter 2, that is trade to territory, the company establishes power. This is one of the picture that has been collected from in net, and you can see a picture of the Indian historical time, what we are reading now. Whenever we talk about history, it shows its glories, of course, the colors, the elephants, the ornaments, and beautiful structure of Indian history. We are always interested to see in picture also what was our king was, queen, how the British they came, the structure, one of the structure of the Indian history. So setting up a new administration is our today's chapter and topic to be studied. See, British territories in India were broadly divided into administrative units, what we call the presidencies. Okay. So there were 3 presidencies by that time. It was divided. One was Bengal, Madras and Bombay. Each was ruled by a governor. The supreme head of this administration was Governor General. A new administration was formed by Lord Warren Hastings, that is the Governor General by that time. Warren Hastings in 1773 to 1784 was the first Governor General of India. Warren Hastings introduced several administrative reforms, especially in the sphere of justice. So let us see what were this, how it has been set up. A new system of justice, just now we said, established in 1772. Each district has 2 courts, a criminal court, that is Faujdari Adalat, and the civil court, what we say the Diwani Adalat. The principal figure in an Indian district was the collector, who was responsible to collect revenue and taxes and maintain law and order in this district. So you can say that criminal courts were still under a Qazi and a Mufti, but under the supervision of the collectors as a whole. Brahmin Pandits, Brahmin are always given importance in our caste, in Hinduism or Hindu caste, that they will be hiring the highermost position in our caste society. So Brahmin Pandits, they took the opportunity also. They gave the different interpretation of the local laws based on different schools of dharmashalas. Schools by that time were not school structures what we have nowadays, but they were the dharmashalas which were being run and being encouraged by the British. Next is colonial rule in India brought in some ideas of information administration and information, but its power rested on its military strength. See, colonial rule brought men the ideas of administration, and the traditional army, the Mughal army had the composed of the traditional, that is the cavalry and infantry, and the new modern types that we will be reading in details. Let us see. The Mughal army. The Mughal army was mainly composed of cavalry, that is Savars, trained soldiers on horseback, and infantry, that is the Paidal, that is the foot soldiers. Soldiers were trained in archery, tirandaz, what we say, bows, then arrows, and use of the sword. The cavalry dominated the army, and the Mughal state did not feel the need to have a professionally trained infantry. The rural areas had a large number of armed peasants, and the local zamindars often supplied the Mughals with Paidal soldiers, because we can see by that time, so what we see the structure of the army today, having the missiles or tanks and so many high technology weapons over there. That was not been that prevalent, or technology was not high by that time to use those sort of arms and weapons. So people were having very normal and very simple way of fighting, and they had a very good training in these parts. That was the Srawars, that is the cavalry and the infantries. Next part, the change occurred in 18th century when Mughal successor states like Awadh and Benar started recruiting peasants into their armies and training them as professional soldiers. Now Sepoy army, the East India Company adopted their same method like Mughal army when it began recruitment for its own army, which came to be known as Sepoy army from the word Sipahi, means soldier. So this word of Sepoy army came later, and it had a very different meaning that what Mughal army used to be known as. So Sepoy army. The warfare technology changed from 1820s. The cavalry requirements of the company army declined. British at that time were fighting wars in Burma, Afghanistan and Egypt. Soldiers were armed with the muskets and matchlocks. That is, you can see they have the matchlocks and muskets in front of them. That was the new invention or new technology that Indians were not using by that time, till that time. So in early 19th century, the British developed uniform military culture. That is, in these days they didn't have a uniform military culture, but it is a new development. Soldiers were increasingly subjected to European style training, drill and discipline that regulated their life for more than before. And we come to a conclusion at the end. Gradually the East India Company was transferred from trading company to a territorial colonial power. The arrival of the new stream of technology in the early 19th century also aided this progress. By 1857, the East India Company had virtually the whole of India under its control. We can say that till then, it would take anywhere between the 6 and the 8 months to travel to India by sea. Steamships reduced the journey time to 3 weeks, enabling more Britishers and their families to come to a far-off country like India. So gradually, British were also coming from their country and getting accumulated in India. By 1857, the East India Company had virtually whole of India under its control. So that is the whole about this chapter. Hope to get with a new chapter and concept in our next video. Till then, have a good time. Thank you.